Good. Settle in. Breathe once. Let the noise fade. I will begin now. There comes a moment in every life when the weight becomes too heavy. Not the work, not the struggle, the weight of caring about opinions, caring about approval, caring about being liked, caring about fitting in. Quietly, slowly, this caring steals your life. You wake up tired, not from effort, from pressure, pressure to be someone you are not. Listen closely. This is important. You were not born to perform. You were not born to impress. You were not born to explain yourself. You were born to live. Yet somewhere along the way, you forgot that. You started measuring yourself through other people's eyes, their looks, their words, their silence. And now your mind never rests. You replay conversations. You imagine judgments. You fear rejection that may never come. This is the quiet prison, and most people never realize. They locked the door themselves. Let me tell you something. Very few will ever say to you. Most people are too busy with their own fear to truly think about you. They are worried about how they look, how they sound, how they are judged while just like you. But you live as if the world is watching your every step. It is not, and even if it were, you still have a choice to live honestly, a choice to let go. Stopping caring does not mean you become cold. It means you become free. There is a deep difference. Caring from fear is heavy. Caring from strength is light. Fear-based caring asks, what will they think? Strength-based living asks, what is true for me? One question drains you. The other builds you. You feel tired because you are split inside. One part of you wants peace. Another part wants approval. And approval is a moving target. No matter how much you give, it is never enough. You adjust your words. You hide your thoughts. You soften your truth. Little by little, you disappear. And the world does not notice, because the world never asked you to vanish. You did that, trying to survive. But survival is not living. Living is standing still inside yourself, even when the wind is loud. Living is saying no without explaining. Living is choosing silence over performance. The strongest people you admire are not strong because they are loud. They are strong because they are settled. They do not rush to defend themselves. They do not chase validation. They do not beg to be understood. They understand themselves. That is enough. You see, when you stop caring what others think, something strange happens. Your body relaxes. Your breath deepens. Your mind slows down. You start hearing your own voice again. At first it feels uncomfortable, because you are not used to it. Silence can feel scary when you have lived in noise. But stay there. Do not run back. That silence is where your power returns. You begin to act, not to please, but to align. Your choices become cleaner. Your energy stops leaking. You sleep better. You speak less, but with more weight. This is not arrogance. This is self-respect. Let me say this gently, but clearly. You do not owe everyone access to you. You do not owe everyone explanations. You do not owe everyone your energy. Your life is not a public service. It is a private journey, and peace comes when you treat it that way. The mind that cares too much is always ahead of itself. It lives in imagined futures, fake judgments, false dangers. The mind that lives stays present, right here, right now, breathing, standing, being. Nothing more is needed. You were never weak. You were just distracted. Distracted by noise, Nace. That was never meant for you. Let it pass. You do not have to fight it. You do not have to convince anyone. You simply stop feeding it. And slowly it loses power. This is how living begins again. Not with force, not with anger, with quiet clarity, with letting go, with choosing yourself without apology. This is only the beginning. There was a man who lived his whole life carefully. He chose his words slowly. He watched faces closely. He adjusted himself. Every time the room changed. At work, he smiled when he disagreed. At home, he stayed quiet to keep peace. With friends, he laughed at jokes that hurt him. He told himself, "This is maturity. This is being smart. This is how you survive." But inside, something was shrinking. Every night, he felt tired without knowing why. Not the body, the spirit. One evening, after another long day, he sat alone in his car. Engine off, lights dim. He did not move. For the first time in years, he asked himself a real question. When did I stop being honest? The question scared him, because the answer came fast. He stopped being honest when he learned that honesty cost approval. He learned that truth made people uncomfortable, so he learned to be acceptable instead of real. That night, nothing dramatic happened. No tears, no breakdown, just a deep heaviness and a simple realization. He was living for everyone, except himself. The next morning, he did something small. Someone asked him for a favor he did not want to do. Normally, he would say yes and feel resentment later. This time, he paused. He felt his breath, and he said, "No, I can't today." Silence followed. No anger, no explosion, just quiet. The world did not end, but something inside him shifted. That moment was the beginning, not because he said no, because he stayed. He did not explain. He did not apologize. He did not justify. He stayed calm. That calm was unfamiliar, but it felt clean. From that day on, he practiced small honesty, not cruelty, not rebellion, truth. He spoke when it mattered. He stayed silent when it didn't. Some people pulled away. Others respected him more. But something surprising happened. He respected himself, and when self-respect grows, fear loses its grip. Caring less was not about ignoring people. It was about listening to himself first. Now listen to this. You will lose people when you stop caring. That is true. But you only lose those who benefited from you being small. The ones who stay, we will meet the real you. And that is a fair exchange. There was also a woman. She lived inside her thoughts, every word replayed, every look analyzed, every silence feared. She believed if she could just be better, nicer, quieter, more agreeable, she would be safe. But safety never came, only anxiety. One day she made a mistake in public. Her voice shook, her face flushed. She waited for judgment. It did not come the way she imagined. Some forgot within minutes. Some never noticed. And something clicked. She had spent years punishing herself for a court that barely existed. That day, she laughed, not loudly, softly, at herself. She realized most of her suffering was self-created, not because she was weak, because she cared too much about imaginary verdicts. From that moment, she practiced release. She stopped rehearsing conversations, stopped explaining her choices, stopped shrinking her presence. She did not become fearless. She became grounded. There is a difference. Fearless people do not exist. Grounded people do. Grounded people feel fear and move anyway. They do not argue with their emotions. They do not obey them either. Yeah, they observe, they choose. This is what stopping caring really means. It means you stop negotiating your worth. You stop handing your peace to strangers. You stop waiting for permission to live. And slowly your nervous system learns you are safe, not because everyone approves, but because you approve of yourself. This is deep work, quiet work, and it takes patience. But the reward is a life that feels like yours again. We are not done. There is more to uncover. There was another story, quieter, but just as powerful. A young man who always felt behind, behind in success, behind in confidence, behind in life. Every time he opened his phone, he compared. Someone traveling, someone winning, someone smiling. He told himself, I should be further. I am failing. I am late. And the caring grew, caring about timelines, caring about status, caring about being seen as successful. This kind of caring is heavy. It turns life into a race with no finish line. One night he lay awake, dark room, phone face down. His chest felt tight. He realized something painful. No matter what he achieved, it would never feel enough if he kept looking sideways. So he did something radical. He stopped explaining his path. He stopped competing silently. He stopped chasing applause from people who did not know him. He focused on one thing, his next honest step, not the perfect step, not the impressive step, the honest one. Some days that step was small, some days it was rest, and slowly the noise faded. He began to feel time again, not rushing, not panicking, just moving. His life did not suddenly explode with success. But something more important happened. He stopped feeling like a failure. Because failure only exists when you live someone else's life. The moment you choose your own pace, comparison loses its power. This is something few understand. Most suffering does not come from lack. It comes from pressure. Pressure created by caring about standards that were never yours. When you stop caring about where others are, you finally see where you are. And where you are is enough to begin. Now listen closely. You do not need to be admired to be fulfilled. You do not need recognition to be at peace. You do not need applause to be aligned. These are illusions sold loudly. Peace is quieter. Peace comes when your actions match your values, when your words match your heart, when your life feels honest, even if no one is watching. This is living, and living requires courage, not loud courage, silent courage, the courage to disappoint others rather than abandon yourself, the courage to be misunderstood rather than fake, the courage to stand alone without feeling lonely. Loneliness fades when self-betrayal ends. This is a truth many discover too late, but you are here now, and that matters. You are learning that caring less does not make you empty. It makes you whole. We are moving deeper. Next, I will speak directly to you as a mentor. Stay calm. Stay open. Now listen carefully. This is the mentor's voice, not above you, beside you. I want you to understand something deeply. Your mind was not designed to carry everyone's expectations. That weight will bend even the strongest. So stop calling yourself weak for feeling tired. You are tired because you have been carrying what was never yours. Here is the guidance. Simple, clear. First, stop explaining. Every explanation is a quiet request for approval. You do not need to justify your peace. You do not need to defend your boundaries. Say what is true, then stop. Silence is strength when it comes from clarity. Second, choose your battles carefully. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every comment needs correction. Your energy is limited. Protect it. Ask yourself often, will this matter tomorrow? If not, let it pass. Third, practice disappointing people. This sounds harsh. It is not. You cannot live honestly and keep everyone comfortable. Discomfort is part of growth, both yours and theirs. Let them feel it. You are not responsible for managing emotions that come from your truth. Fourth, slow your reactions. Caring too much makes you react fast. Living fully requires pause. Pause before replying. Pause before agreeing. Pause before judging yourself. In that pause, you regain control. Fifth, return to your body. When the mind spirals, the body anchors. Breathe slowly. Stand still. Feel your feet. Life happens here, not in imagined conversations, not in future fears. Right here. Now hear this clearly. You do not become free by fighting your thoughts. You become free by not obeying them. Thoughts come. Let them come. Feelings rise. Let them rise. You stay. That is mastery. This is what calm power looks like. No rush, no performance, no noise, just presence. As you practice this, your identity will change. You will notice you speak less, but mean more. You will notice people listen differently. And if they do not, you will not chase them, because your worth is no longer negotiated. This is the turning point. From here, life begins to feel solid again. We are close now to the transformation. There is a moment when something inside you settles. Not excitement, not confidence, stillness. It happens quietly. One day you notice you are no longer rehearsing conversations. You notice you are not checking reactions as much. You notice silence does not scare you anymore. This is transformation. Not loud, not dramatic, deep. You begin to live from the inside out. Your decisions feel cleaner. Your mornings feel lighter. Your nights feel calmer. Problems still exist. People still talk, but they no longer own you. You realize something important. Your life was never meant to be a performance. It was meant to be an experience. Felt, lived, owned. You stop chasing peace and start allowing it. You stop proving strength and start embodying it. This is what it means to stop caring and start living. You care about what matters, your values, your health, your truth. Everything else becomes background noise, and noise loses power when you stop listening. Now let this land. You do not need to fix yourself. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to stop abandoning yourself. That is the work. Simple, Biri. Not easy, but worth it. And as you walk forward, carry this with you. When you feel the old pull, to explain, to please, to shrink, pause, breathe, and choose yourself. Again, and again, and again. This is how a calm life is built, one honest moment at a time. Now the mind becomes quiet enough to hear something deeper. Not thoughts, not fear. Truth. Truth does not shout. It does not rush. It waits. And when you finally stop caring about being seen, about being praised, about being approved, truth steps forward. It tells you this. You are allowed to live slowly. You are allowed to live simply. You are allowed to live honestly. You do not need permission, Yardaus. Most people never reach this point because they are addicted to noise. Noise keeps them distracted. Noise keeps them busy. Noise keeps them from facing themselves. But you stayed. And because you stayed, your life begins to realign. You notice your reactions soften. Things that once triggered you now feel distant. Not because you are numb, but because you are grounded. Grounded people do not react to everything. They respond only to what matters. This is power. Quiet power. The kind that does not need to be announced. You stop proving yourself. You stop chasing respect. And somehow, respect finds you anyway. Not from everyone. From the right ones. And even if it doesn't, you are no longer hungry for it. Because peace feeds you better. Here is a truth many fear to accept. You cannot fully live and be fully liked. The price of authenticity is selective connection, but the reward is inner freedom. You will be misunderstood. You will be judged. You will be talked about. Let it happen. Those things were happening anyway. The only difference now is that they no longer control you. You realize your attention is your most valuable asset. Where you place it is where your life grows. When you stop caring about noise, your attention returns to you, and you begin to live deliberately. You choose rest without guilt. You choose distance without hatred. You choose focus without pressure. This is not escape. This is alignment. Life starts to feel less heavy, not because problems disappear, but because you are no longer carrying extra weight. The weight of pretending, the weight of pleasing, the weight of fear. And with that weight gone, your natural strength returns. You stand differently. You speak differently. You move differently. People feel it, not because you demand respect, but because you are at peace with yourself. Peace is contagious, so is insecurity. Choose what you spread. Now listen carefully to this final truth. You will still care, but not about everything. You will care about your word, your character, your inner alignment. You will care about growth, health, purpose. You will stop caring about being chosen because you choose yourself. And that is where living truly begins. Stay with this feeling. At this stage, something important must be understood. Stopping caring is not a single decision. It is a daily practice. Some days you will feel strong. Other days the old habits will return. That does not mean you failed. It means you are human. Do not fight those moments. Observe them. When the urge comes, to check reactions, to seek validation, to explain yourself, pause. Ask one calm question. Is this coming from fear or from truth? Fear is loud. Truth is quiet. Fear rushes. Truth waits. Fear wants approval now. Truth wants alignment always. Learn to tell the difference. This is the skill that changes everything. There will be moments when someone misunderstands you. Old you, he would rush to fix it. New you will breathe. You will let them hold their version. Because clarity does not require agreement. You do not need to be seen correctly by everyone to live correctly. This realization brings enormous relief. You stop managing impressions. You start managing energy. And energy is the currency of life. Spend it wisely. Spend it on what builds you, not what drains you. Now let me speak plainly. Some people will test your boundaries, yes, when you stop caring. They will push. They will question. They will guilt you. Not because you are wrong, because they are used to having access. Hold steady. Boundaries feel uncomfortable only at the beginning. Later, they feel like peace, and peace is addictive in the best way. Once you taste it, you will not want to go back. You will notice your life becomes smaller, fewer people, fewer conversations, fewer obligations, but it becomes deeper, more meaning, more presence, more truth. This is not loss. This is refinement. You are not isolating. You are filtering. What remains is real, and real is enough. As this settles, you may feel grief. Grief for time wasted. Grief for versions of yourself that tried so hard. Let that grief come. Do not judge it. It is part of the release. After grief comes compassion for yourself. You realize you did the best you could with what you knew, and now you know better. So you live better, calmer, cleaner, lighter. This is not a mindset trick. This is a return to who you were before the world taught you to shrink. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering, and remembering is powerful. There is a quiet strength that comes after acceptance, not acceptance of the world, acceptance of yourself. You stop asking, "Am I enough?" because the question itself was the wound. Enough is not something you earn. It is something you remember. When you stop caring about proving your worth, you begin to feel it in your posture, in your voice, in your silence. You notice you are no longer rushing. You arrive places without needing to impress. You leave conversations without replaying them. This is freedom, not the loud kind, the lasting kind. Now understand this. Most people never live this way because it requires courage. Not the courage to fight, the courage to stand still when others expect you to bend. It takes courage to be calm in a loud world. It takes courage to be simple in a complex one. But once you choose this path, your life begins to feel grounded. You stop chasing motivation. You build consistency. You stop chasing happiness. You build peace. Peace is not excitement. It is stability. And stability creates strength. From this place, you act with intention. You choose work that aligns with your values. You choose relationships that feel safe and honest. You choose rest without guilt. This is living, reacting, surviving, living. Let me tell you something important. You will still feel pain. Living fully does not remove pain, but it changes your relationship with it. Pain becomes information, not identity. You feel it. You learn from it. You move forward. You no longer dramatize it. You no longer wear it to be seen. You process it privately, and you grow quietly. This is maturity, and maturity is deeply attractive, not in a surface way, in a grounding way. People trust those who are at peace with themselves, even if they cannot explain why. Now, listen carefully. When you stop caring, you create space. Space in your mind, space in your life, space in your future. And in that space, new possibilities appear, not forced, not chased, invited. You start living from clarity instead of fear, and clarity always leads you where you are meant to be. This is not a destination. This is a way of being, a way you return to again and again. When the world pulls you outward, you return inward. When noise grows, you choose silence. When pressure rises, you choose presence. This is the practice. This is the path, and you are walking it now. There will come a day when you look back and barely recognize the person who cared so much. Not with shame, with compassion. You will see someone who was trying to be safe, trying to belong, trying to be enough. And you will smile because you know now. You know that life begins when approval is no longer the goal. You know that peace comes when you stop negotiating your truth. You know that silence is not emptiness, it is space. Space to breathe, space to choose, space to live. From this day forward, you move differently, not louder, not faster, clearer. You let people think what they think. You let the world move how it moves, and you stay rooted, calm in the storm, still in the noise, present in your own life. This is not detachment. This is mastery. You care about what matters, and you release the rest. That is wisdom. That is strength. That is living. Breathe once. This chapter is complete. Breathe once. This chapter is complete.